Netflix rhymes with wet chicks. Power Rangers is directed by Dean Israelite and stars Dacrae Montgomery, Naomi Scott, RJ Cyler, Ludi, and Becky G as the titular Saban's Power Rangers. The rest of the supporting cast is filled out with bigger names like Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa and Bryan Cranston as Zordon. The film is essentially an origin story where they discover their powers but also have to train for most of the movie, and it's also a lot about their relationships with each other and their families. The film is an amalgamation of all the blockbuster fodder that's come before it. It's a superhero origin story mixed with Transformers and a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, all within the frame of Breakfast Club. This is exactly the kind of movie I want little kids to watch, honestly. There's good messages about bullying that aren't like the same old thing that you've seen before, and there's characters that, like Billy, he's on the spectrum, and they mention it and they address it, and it's never a problem for him or the rest of the group. And also, just like I said in Beauty and the Beast, Trini been gay! Trini been gay! Israelite does really interesting stuff with the camera. There's a lot of POV, like long takes, especially this really interesting one that takes place inside of a car during a car chase, and it's all one shot, even though it's probably broken up in post or whatever, but it's all made to look like one shot. It's really interesting to see that in a big blockbuster. All the actors are pretty fine and they do a good job. I think Elizabeth Banks is probably the standout, honestly. From her performance is pretty dedicated, and she does a lot of sniveling and being real evil, and I really enjoy that. And yeah, there's not really much I can get into this movie without talking about spoilers, so that was a little quick review for people who haven't seen the movie. 4 stars. Honestly, it's a very good movie. You should watch it. And I'm about to get into why it's a really good movie right now. Some of this stuff I don't consider spoilers. To me, spoilers are only something that will ruin the reason why someone watches the movie, instead of just, a big plot point like someone dies or something. But if that's something that bothers you, or if you don't care about the spoilers in Power Rangers from 2017, you can keep watching. Spoilers. Now, if I'm an expert at anything, it's over-analyzing movies that probably don't call for over-analyzation. And so here's my deep over-analyzation of Power Rangers. I came out of Power Rangers with only one thought in my mind. Zordon and Rita Repulsa are 90s kids. Zordon hates remakes, and Rita exploits them. Necessary plot overview. The film begins 60 million years in the past. Zordon is a Red Ranger who is currently dying because Rita Repulsa, a rogue Green Ranger, is destroying him, and he calls for an asteroid to kill both of them. She is looking for the Zeo crystals to help her take over the world, I guess, right? Zordon sacrifices himself in order to make the Rangers of the future come in to set place and take over as the Rangers. When the kids first get their Ranger coins, they go inside the alien spaceship and they're greeted by Alpha 5, who is this cute but not too cute, and funny but not too funny robot played by Bill Hader, who guides them and tells them what's going on. Here's where things get interesting. Zordon is usually this god figure that is an all-knowing mentor, but in this film, he is a downed ranger who is just trapped in the matrix of the ship. And that changes his psyche a little bit, and Bryan Cranston performs it like that. He's confused on how the Rangers can be so young, and Alpha actually makes a comment saying that they're different colors. Even though he knows that these are the signs that the new Rangers have arrived, he is still skeptical. Meanwhile, Rita wakes up and she's really old and decrepit, and she starts harvesting gold teeth from homeless people. And when she eats the gold, she starts regaining her strength and her youth back. She pulls a Nelly as she shows up to a jewelry store and tells them to make her a grill. They won't do it, and she ends up eating all the gold and creating monsters that come out of the ground. And she regains all her youth, and we recognize her as Elizabeth Banks again. And then she heads into town to look for the Zeo crystal. After days of training, Billy's able to morph accidentally, and then Zordon asks him to do it again, and he gets really upset about it and tells them to go home. Jason's like, "What gives?" And Zordon's like, basically, I don't care if you guys become Power Rangers, because I think I'm the only one who can become the Red Ranger again and defeat Rita Repulsa again. but I need the morphin grid to work, so you guys are gonna have to turn into Power Rangers. The Rangers get in a scuffle with Rita, she ties them up and then asks them where the Zeo Crystal is. Billy knows where the Zeo Crystal is, and he tells her, and she kills him. After not even attempting to do CPR, they confirm that Billy is dead and take him to Zordon to bring him to life or something? Zordon tells them he can't bring him back to life, and they share a heartfelt moment about how Billy died for us and we would die for Billy. We're all like friends now. This is crazy. And then the morphin grid activates because they're finally Rangers. And then Zordon's like, this is my chance. And then he gets in, and then he realizes, I think halfway through, that he's just like, you know what? It's not my turn anymore. And then he brings Billy back to life somehow. I don't really understand how, but you know what? It's part of the story. All of that to say is basically Zordon is that kid who's like, I don't want a Power Rangers remake. Power Rangers is my life. Power Rangers touch me. Women Ghostbusters, what the fuck? Zordon's under the impression that his Power Rangers are superior because they're his Power Rangers. He reflects the same sentiments as a 90s kid who's like completely against the capitalization of nostalgia. For God's sakes, like if Zordon doesn't represent the 90s, then why is he straight up like that pin toy that people put their face up against? Meanwhile, Rita's out there and she's like, Power Rangers are relevant again? Time to cash in. Time to mine the gold out of this property. And Zordon's like, I don't think so. I want my Power Rangers to be relevant and interesting instead of just toys to sell. Also, the Zeo Crystal kind of represents the idea of nostalgia in general, something that like, when you think about it, it like reminds you of your youth, and her youth, I guess, is destroying the Power Rangers. So, destroying the Power Rangers and getting the Zeo Crystal means double thumbs up for Rita. When they all get in their Zords for the first time, the classic Power Rangers song comes on and everyone's like, yeah! That's my childhood! They're doing this for me! And it's not a remix or anything, it's just straight up the classic song. And then it ends, and then they start fighting, and then Kanye West's Power comes on. And it kind of feels like it's like signaling the new era of Power Rangers. And then they beat Rita, and everything's good, and there's gonna be more movies, and I love this movie, it's really good. It's because of all this stuff. There's like, and it's just like pulling from all this nostalgia stuff. It's Breakfast Club, it's Lost Boys, it's like all this goofy old stuff mixed in with this thing that it just feels like a nostalgia melting pot. It's just nice, and I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it. Maybe I'm not reading deep into it at all. Comment, leave your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. Remember to subscribe. Remember to show this to people that you think should, I feel like this is a good way to like kind of make someone like the new Power Rangers movie if they didn't like it. So go ahead and show this. I would appreciate that. And also, yeah, subscribe. It's love, appreciate it.